Hi everybody, I'm Courtney from Schneider's Driver Recruiting, coming to you today to talk a little bit about a question we get all the time: endorsements. What do I need? What are they? How do I get them? Do I get reimbursed? We get them all the time when we're asked, going through different jobs, talking to drivers. So I'll talk a little bit today individually about how to go about getting all these. And if you have any questions, you can definitely ask those in the comments below. I'll try to answer them if any of them come through, or if it's after we're live, we can answer those too as well. So don't feel afraid to reach out, pop me up, ask me some questions, but we'll dive on in. So a little bit more in depth about endorsements. What are they exactly? So it's something that you put on your Class A CDL, or even, commercial license, to help you haul certain things. So if you need to haul liquid freight, you need an endorsement. You need to haul hazardous freight, you need an endorsement. So certain jobs throughout the enterprise will require these certain endorsements. So if you're kind of confused as to what you need, where to go, ask your recruiter, or usually they're listed in the job description on Schneider Jobs too. So the first one that I want to kind of dive on into, and then one of the most, more popular ones that we have, is the tanker endorsement. So tanker will literally, as it sounds, is when you're hauling anything liquid or in a tank. So with our tanker division or our bulk division, you're going to be getting hauling that liquid freight. You need to have that tanker endorsement. And for, I'd say, 99% of the tanker positions we have online, you need to have that at your time of hire. So in order to come to orientation, you need that tanker endorsement. When we have, in order to get the tanker endorsement, it can vary a little bit from state to state, but normally it's a simple, I shouldn't say simple, but an exam that you take at the DMV. I know a lot of places now are going virtually, so that's a great thing to ask the DMV if you can call ahead. Can I take this all online and get everything updated? Because in order to bring you on board, it needs to, not only do you need to pass that test, you need to place the endorsement on your license so that it shows, and when we run your motor vehicle report, it'll literally say tanks, so that we know that you have that tanker endorsement. So once again, today I'm Courtney from Driver Recruiting, talking a little bit about endorsements, how to get them. We have questions coming in, so don't be afraid to ask them. One of them is, do we hire drivers with no experience? Absolutely. We have plenty of, it's one of our main orientations, that's the word I was looking for, that we have is with our new or inexperienced drivers. So if you have no experience, that's totally okay. You can actually filter when you go to schneiderjobs.com. You can filter on the left-hand side for a driver that is new to driving or has less than 3 months of CDL experience, and it will bring up any job available in your area. It'll actually say available to all CDL holders. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely just click on it, and we can chat with you a little bit more in depth about orientation, what you need, pay scales, all that good stuff, including endorsements, and that's kind of what we're chatting about today. So we've already kind of talked a little bit about the tanker endorsement. The next one, and a very popular one, is the hazmat endorsement. Now, there's a little bit more that goes into this one and how it entails. So not every job that requires a hazmat endorsement would require you to have it when you come on board. Reason being, hazmat endorsements take a little bit of time to obtain. So it's not a simple walk into the DMV, take a quick quiz, and then you're out and you have it. The hazmat endorsement requires fingerprinting, background checks, and depending on, some can come back within a week, some can come back in a couple of weeks. It takes time to obtain. So if you don't have it right away, that's okay. Majority of the jobs we have, we give you that time to get it, or at least start the process to get it. So a lot of states will require, I'd call and talk to your DMV. A lot of states require an application first. So whether that be in person or online can depend or vary on the state. Then the fingerprinting comes in next, along with a couple other paperwork. You have to pay for it, and then taking the exam. So I mentioned pay. With our hazmat endorsement, if you're going onto a bulk or a tanker account, we'll reimburse you for that hazmat endorsement. So the fee for the exam in the background, we'll reimburse for it. So just keep your receipts. If you're going on to like an intermodal account that says it requires a hazmat endorsement, unfortunately we won't reimburse for it, but that's usually because intermodal line of business, if it requires a hazmat endorsement, will have some sort of premium pay to go along with that hazmat endorsement. So if you have a hazmat load, usually there's some sort of premium pay involved with that you can then kind of make up for the cost of that endorsement too. So once again, we're talking about endorsements. We have a couple questions coming in. One of them, how much does tanker pay per mile? Great question. And now anything pay-wise, a couple factors are given in. So we have in experience is always the number one key factor. We pay according to experience. How much tractor trailer experience have you had in the last 10 years? So that will be one of the first questions your recruiter asks you, because that will determine pay. Now with a tanker account, we pay a couple of ways. Not only do you get your rate per mile, but we also pay for loading and or unloading a tank, because you as the driver are going to be the one that actually does that. And with that, you're not necessarily driving, you're spending time at a customer loading or unloading. And in that case, we want to compensate for the mileage that you may not be getting while you're loading or unloading. So everything kind of depends on a couple of variations. So just make sure you ask your recruiter when they're going through the tanker account with you, what it all entails or what it all pays. Another question somebody asked, how do I get started getting my CDL? Great question. Lots of different ways. So it kind of depends on you as a person. What is your situation looking like? Can you afford to pay for school out of your own pocket? Can you apply for a loan to go through a truck driving school? We do have a couple of programs, depending on where you live, that may help you obtain that Class A CDL. But we do just need a couple other things involved to get that program started. So what I would highly recommend, go to SchneiderJobs.com. We have under the inexperienced driving tab different ways to find truck driving schools in your area and how to pay for those schoolings as well too. We offer tuition reimbursement, so if you pay for anything out of your own pocket or with a loan, we can pay that back to you. Those are in $200 payments a month, $400 if you're going on a team account. So a lot of great options, how to apply for grants if that's available in your area, FAFSA, all that good stuff too. So highly recommend checking out SchneiderJobs.com. It has a lot of different information on there as to kind of how to get the ball rolling. And if you have any questions too, you can always call us and we can kind of walk you through the process and what works best for you too. So once again, we kind of are getting back to endorsements. We talked about our tanker endorsement, the hazmat endorsement. One thing I didn't mention about that hazmat endorsement is if you attend our tanker training and orientation and you have that tanker endorsement but are working on getting your hazmat, we also do offer in our orientation a self-paced online program that can help you practice for that quiz that you'll then eventually have to take at the DMV. We have found really, really great success with that program, and a lot of those that use that self-paced training program usually pass that hazmat test on their first go. So take advantage of that. So if you haven't started it and you go to a tanker orientation, do that online training program too. I've seen a lot of good things with that too. One endorsement that we don't necessarily touch on quite a bit because it pops up here and there with us is the doubles and triple endorsement. So a lot of people will say to me, I have my doubles and triples. Does that apply for this position? A majority of the time with a typical van truckload or bulk or tanker account, you don't need a double or triple endorsement. They do come about every now and then, but rare. But it is exactly what it sounds. It's hauling two or a triple trailer. So we do get them every now and then, but not as often as some other lines of business. But if we were to be required, you would see that pasted and posted right online. So just make sure to kind of read over the description when you're applying to see if it's something that would be required. Again, not too terribly often, but they do pop up here and there. For another question, how much does Schneider reimburse for the hazmat endorsement? That's a great question. So if you are getting that hazmat for a tanker account, pretty much it's however that much that hazmat endorsement costs you. So each state is a little bit different, but we will reimburse for the application or the test exam and the background checks. So I know each state's a little bit different, so as long as you are keeping your receipts, we'll reimburse for that. So great question. And another thing I wanted to kind of hit on quite a bit is it's not necessarily an endorsement, but an extra little added thing that you may need sometimes, depending on if you are hauling, usually a lot of times liquid freight in that tanker division, is the Twic Card. So a Twic Card basically stands for Transportation Worker Identification Card. What this does, it allows you to travel in and out of a variety of different ports throughout the country. So a lot of tanker jobs may ask that within 60 days you start the process, because a lot of the process is very similar to the hazmat endorsement, where you are going to get fingerprinted. Good news about that is if you got fingerprinted for one, it most likely will transfer over to the other. So getting that Twic Card will help you just in and out of a variety of different ports kind of throughout the country. So a lot of good things. Each endorsement can, if we're talking about cost, vary depending on where you live, the state, when and where you kind of applied for it. Right now, with the typical world that we're living in, I would call your DMV before you go in person and apply, because some are closed, some are doing everything virtually. Give them a holler, give them a call. I would also go to your DMV's website. A lot of those states have information online as to here's a step-by-step process to apply for your endorsements or how to go about getting them started. Another one we didn't talk about too, and now as I'm kind of thinking more and more about it, is it's not necessarily endorsements, but other things that can open up more opportunities to haul more freight. Passport or an enhanced CDL. Those will allow you to cross the border. So we do have freight that goes into Canada. Not all the positions that we have would require that, but if you want to do that and go across the border, you would obviously need a passport or an enhanced CDL to do so too. So I always tell my drivers, if you have an endorsement, it will not hurt you or hinder you. Even if it's not required, I would highly recommend, if you want to go get one and apply for one, do it. It's not going to hurt you. It only opens up more opportunities to haul more freight. So you never know when the loan may come about where it requires a hazmat endorsement. You have one, but another driver doesn't. So in that case, you would get the loan over that other person. So I would always recommend, if you want to get them, go for it, because they're not going to hinder you in any way, shape, or form. We talked a little bit about the reimbursements, the benefits, and hauling different loads. If you have questions regarding any of those, just always talk to your recruiter too. We have some more questions coming in too, about endorsements, about other things too. How long is orientation? So depending on your experience and which line of business you're going into, that can determine how long your orientation will be. So it can be anywhere from simple 4 days to 28 days if you're a new driver and going to a tanker orientation. So a lot of different factors, but a big one on that is experience and which line of business you're going into. So great question. A couple more are coming in as well too. On top of that, how long will it take to get out on the road from when I first put in an application? Awesome question. So for example, today is Thursday. If you were to put in an application today, you give us a call. We do an application review, which honestly takes about 25-30 minutes. You have filled out everything on the application. So work history, licenses within the last 5 years, your personal information, everything looks great. We have openings for orientation next week. So it's a very quick turnaround if you want to get started as soon as possible. Now, we do have the holidays next week, so we have adjustments with certain class schedules and orientation schedules, but in a normal, typical week to week without a holiday, we can get you in right away. But we do have some starting next Monday on the 21st. So give us a call, submit your application. Schneiderjobs.com, you can type in your zip code, click on the position that you are looking for that you think would apply to you, and then give us a call, 844-PRIDE. You can talk to a recruiting assistant who can get you scheduled for an interview if you can't talk right away, or you can talk to a recruiter right away in what we call like an on-the-spot interview. So we can go through your entire application within that period of time right away and get you scheduled for as soon as possible and whatever works for your schedule too. So great question. I like that question. But we have plenty of openings for next Monday. I just want to plug that into if you are a new driver, we have some inexperienced orientation locations, open right now. And plenty, obviously, for after the holidays and after the new year, which is coming up so fast already. So another question we had, are there any tanker loads or any dedicated tanker accounts? Yes, absolutely. We have a couple, kind of depending on where you live, that will be dedicated for a specific customer or a certain account. So if you use the filters on the left-hand side and click on that bulk line of business, bulk or tanker, it will show you any dedicated accounts that may be available in your area. If you see that, or if you click on that line of business and you don't see anything that says dedicated, unfortunately, as of today, there's not anything available. But if you sign up for Schneider Jobs like text alerts or email alerts, it'll alert you anytime a new job or position is posted in your area. So great question. Another one we also get, and I love this question, we get it all the time. Are you hiring out of Ontario, Canada? Yes, we are. And again, use that Schneider filter to enter in your postal code that is there, and it'll show any positions available out of your area too. We do have a couple orientations coming up. I know they've kind of moved some stuff around with Boxing Day. So if you have, if you're interested in driving and you're out of that and you have your AZ license, definitely feel free to give us a call or to chat with. We have a couple recruiters that solely work with Canadian drivers, excuse me. So a lot of great questions coming in. If you have any more after we hop off today, definitely feel free to continue to comment, ask the questions. We're going to answer those as soon as we can. And if you have any more questions about endorsements, you can go down to Schneiderjobs.com. We have a section with endorsements as well, or just chat with your recruiter too. They can kind of walk you through the process from, whatever works best for that account that you're looking for. Another question too, are you hiring in Florida? Yes, always. I've actually had quite a bit of an influx out of Florida lately from some of the interviews that I've been doing. So a lot of fun over-the-road accounts, teams, jet set accounts out of that area. So if you're really interested in flying and seeing other parts of the country, you can definitely do that as well too. Somebody also asked if we have a flatbed division. Not necessarily a division, but we do have flatbed accounts. So you can see that under if you click on the dedicated line of business, usually they're dedicated accounts that we have out of your area, or a van truckload account. So it would literally say flatbed right in the title. So if that's something you're interested in, it does require an extra little about day and a half of additional training on top of your normal Schneider orientation, just to kind of walk you through the ins and outs of strapping down a load, or if you do need to do any throwing of tarps, that type of stuff. So great question. And we have more and more kind of throughout the past couple of months that I've seen too. So it's just a matter of using that filter on the left-hand side. So great questions. Continue to ask them. If you have any questions about your endorsements, just chat with your recruiter, or if you call 844-PRIDE, our recruiting assistants can definitely help you out with that stuff as well too. Otherwise, great questions today. Thank you so much for asking those. If you need anything else, like I said, 844-PRIDE, any number of us can chat with you. We will be staffed to kind of throughout the next couple of weeks. People have been asking that, when are you going to be in? So definitely give us a call. We'll have our hours updated too. So lots of different accounts in and out of the country, and give us a call. We want to see it. Check it out, Schneiderjobs.com. Give us a call at 844-PRIDE, and be safe. Do well.